So a couple days ago, the Blue Protocol team held interviews with various different news outlets. 4Gamer, Famitsu, OnlineGamer, and DengekiOnline, to name a few. This was honestly a very interesting time to do an interview like this, as they had just made the announcement last month that they were going to be reducing their online presence on social media like Twitter. This way they could continue to focus their efforts more on the development of the game. But here we are with more to talk about. So let's get to talking. Now, I will be taking this information from a variety of different sources, so do keep that in mind. Before we go any further though, do note that during the next closed or open beta test, we will be streaming Blue Protocol over on Twitch. If you don't follow us there, make sure that you do so you don't miss out when we go live. We stream MMORPGs 3 times per week, every single week. The developers interview went on to mention how they grew up immersed in the world of online gaming. Blue Protocol was designed with the intention of creating a world filled with opportunities for the experiences they had when they were younger. According to them, it's not finished yet. There was a lot more content in the closed beta than in the closed alpha, but we're not at all finished, they stated. The closed beta test was just a test, and they recognized that it is necessary to make modifications to the game after test phases based on the opinions of the players. It is the players, after all, that will be taking their time to actually play through the content, and without an active player base, not only will the game die off relatively fast, but it won't be profitable for the company. As an example, during internal testing, their team didn't come across really many issues with the game. However, after they began their journey into the beta, they found a significant number of issues that they wouldn't have found otherwise. Server issues, development issues, and even issues plaguing the gameplay itself. One set of feedback the devs actually got was concerning the release of the game. Apparently, this was more of a frequent concern than you would think, as they addressed this directly. Players were leaving feedback assuming that the game would release in its current form, that this is the version of the game that would ultimately come out. However, they stressed repeatedly that this was just a closed beta test and there is a lot to not only improve on, but to also implement going into the future. The entirety of the closed beta took place from remote workstations. Everyone was at home during the course of the beta test, and that brought with it its own set of problems. Team members had issues communicating with one another, there were connectivity issues depending on where staff members were located, real-life problems would come into play. Any number of issues came up that got in the way of development, which is one of the reasons why the closed beta test was actually delayed back when it was. However, they got things sorted out and moved on accordingly. They went on to discuss how servers are expensive, and they wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to go over their budget to maintain an MMO of this size, of this scale. According to the devs, Blue Protocol utilizes a mega server similar to the Elder Scrolls Online that is essentially a large cluster of small servers concentrated together into a much larger server, allowing crossplay between all the servers without the need to manually select one, keeping every player on the same server. This makes it necessary to have channels or instances for players, which I know was a bit of an issue initially during the beta test, as players couldn't join instances with their friends if the channel was full. Interestingly, servers are divided based on type. There are town servers that are used exclusively for the towns that you'll ultimately end up visiting. There are field servers for when you're outside of the towns or outside of the dungeons exploring, and there are dungeon servers for when tackling dungeons. There are player limitations imposed on each type of server, with each server obviously being required to have more power to house an increasingly larger maximum number of players. They also touched a little on classes here. I know a lot of you have been asking on the Blue Protocol subreddit, will they be adding new classes? According to the developers, it's inevitable to put out classes with similar concepts. As an example, if you introduce a new class that uses shields and recovery abilities, then what about the other class that use shields? It's now going to become unnecessary and obsolete, especially since you'll need to incentivize the new class by making it better than already existing classes, otherwise there's no purpose to actually adding the new class. Because let's be real here, if it isn't at least better, then no one is going to be interested in really playing it. This is a commonly reoccurring issue in games that release classes too frequently. It's impossible to balance them and keep old classes relevant. This is an issue that they would very much like to avoid, but they did confirm that they are interested in adding new classes. They just want to attempt to make them feel as unique as possible so as to not make other classes irrelevant. Then they went on to discuss 3 other topics: matchmaking, communication with the community, and their upcoming open beta test. Players were unhappy with the matchmaking system, and they need to take an appropriate amount of time to fix the issues players had with it. They have several different ideas in mind, all of which they're contemplating on but are unsure of ultimately. They went on to state that they want to be highly communicative with the community. They want to post little bits of information. They want to go ahead and post screenshots, post little videos, but they can't. The official Blue Protocol Twitter is not built for that, and as such, they need to respect that. That doesn't mean it won't be something that they do, it just won't be something that that they really do very often. They're considering holding a small test phase for dungeons and matchmaking once they get around to finalizing the changes on it, after which they have plans on a potential follow-up closed beta test, followed by an open beta. According to the developers, we cannot discuss if it will be necessary to perform a closed beta test again until the fixes have been made, or proceed with the open beta test. Yeah, you guys heard it, they already have plans for an upcoming open beta test. That means that we're probably further along through the development cycle than we actually thought we were. And if these issues with the game are resolved and players are happy with them, open beta will be coming shortly after. They haven't confirmed yet if we will or will not be receiving another large live stream after their last one, but they're definitely considering it when they've made enough changes to the game to really warrant one. Blue Protocol began development over 6 years ago with the goal of creating an anime MMO for both developers and players alike to go about exploring and enjoying together. And honestly, I really do hope that Blue Protocol ends up being able to live up to the expectations set by both parties. This is a title that I really honestly believe could definitely be one of the next big MMOs. It has AAA backing, it has a development team that has a known history of developing high quality, solid anime RPG titles, and it has a community that genuinely love what they see. But this is my opinion, my impressions of the game right now. What do you guys think? Is this still something you're excited for? Are you happy with the information that you're now made aware of? Let me know down in the comments below and let's talk about it. Anyway guys, that is it for me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.